There's this trend. It's everywhere, online and in public. Filming yourself. Sorry. And look, I get it. I do it too. It's my job, actually. But then this guy came around.
Be careful, bud.
My son has taught me so much about putting myself second and seeing the beauty of the story I'm wrapped up in all around me. It's an absolute blessing, and I want to document a lot of it. A lot of him.
Boom. Are you standing? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And myself. So I'm gonna need an EDC-C. What's that? Thanks for asking. An EDC-C is what I call an everyday cinema carry. A compact yet capable video camera that always comes with me and keeps the documenting process as frictionless as possible. And it won't hurt if it also shoots nice stills. Is the Canon Powershot V1 worthy of this call, and who might it be for? Let's find out. This video is sponsored by Professional Photographers of America. Powershot V1. I'm really excited about this video. This camera was loaned to me by Robert's Camera, which is awesome. I don't have to work with these big brands and feel biased or anything. I can say whatever the heck I want and give the camera back when I'm done. So shout out to Robert's Camera. Go check them out if you're looking to buy something or rent some gear as well. Let's start with the pros of the V1. And yes, I'm coming at this video from the perspective of basically looking for my perfect everyday cinema carry that also shoots nice stills, because I'm looking for the perfect dad cam. I thought it was the Lumix S9. It wasn't. But this is totally gonna apply to anybody else out there who's looking for a compact daily carry camera. And that's the first pro. This camera is actually tiny. It can actually fit in your pocket when it's turned off and the lens is down. If you turn it on, the lens extends. It's a really cool design. When you turn it off, it goes like this. Also, when you turn it on, you can start recording basically instantly. It's pretty amazing. It is a single card slot, but now I can demonstrate. Turn camera on. Hit record. It is recording very fast. Now let's talk about that zoom lens. It is incredibly handy, and I say handy because it reminds me of my old school handy cams. I love having an inbuilt zoom lens. It's just convenient for getting different kinds of frames, and you actually get a pretty good amount of range on this thing. There are downsides for sure, but we'll get into that in the next chapter. On the wide end, it is very wide, like wider than I was expecting, and it's perfect for self-filming, as we talked about, but also just getting up close and personal to subjects that you care about. And when you're shooting wide, it's the most open that the aperture is. But even when you're all the way zoomed in, as long as you get closer to your subjects, you can still get some depth of field, background blur, if that's what you're going for. Obviously, it's not gonna look full frame, but it's gonna be able to provide some of that look to you without in-camera digital processing like your phone. Handheld shooting on this camera actually looks really nice even without the stabilization turned on. Especially at the wide end of the lens, everything is relatively stable as long as you're not shaking like crazy. And the camera does give you two versions of digital IS stabilization if you want it. I would say as a rule of thumb with this camera, be very careful with the digital stabilization. If you move your hands too much and get a little wonky with things, it's gonna make your image look very jittery and weird. So it's probably best if you're just standing still, or if you can ninja walk like a beast and you need it to look gimbal-esque, then you can probably pull off decent shots, but you have to be very careful. So I know I'm looking for a cinema carry, but I did explore the auto exposure settings in this camera. Now I should be in CLOG 3, rocking the e-bike. I have the ND on, auto audio settings, and I have it set to shutter speed priority, so my shutter speed is just at 1/50th of a second, and then the camera should be doing the rest with aperture and ISO. And I have the little wind muff on here. Dude, if this sounds good for audio, we're set, because I'm going 26 miles per hour on an e-bike. I also have stabilization turned off, because I just want to see, I want to see what it looks like with no crop on. This is the widest the lens goes. First of all, just as like an overview, the auto exposure settings are very smooth and natural looking on this camera. It's not like jumping up crazy fast or getting way too dark, way too bright. It's a nice natural adjustment up and down. But what really helps the exposure the most with this camera is the built-in ND filter. It's actually so awesome. Having a built-in ND filter on a camera this small is possible because of the leaf shutter design, similar to the Fujifilm X100VI. That camera also has ND. I have ND mapped to this little star button right here, so I can just click this and select my setting and then start shooting if I want to. Would it be nice if the camera had a little bit stronger ND or 2 options of ND? Yeah, but this is actually enough for most situations. And this thing is just so insanely compact. I can't get over this. This is the best. That is actually, that's pocketable, baby. That's nice, dude. So let's dive into CLOG 3 really quick. Okay, so this is probably like a headline feature you've seen on this camera on the internet. It has a nice flat color profile like Canon's professional cinema cameras and mirrorless cameras. Let me start with the good stuff. It is really nice looking if you grade it properly. And I will say, shooting on a Canon has been actually kind of refreshing for me personally. I don't know if you'll care about this, but I have like very strong red undertones in my cheeks, and almost every other color science from camera brands accents that and makes my face way more red, and it just is a nightmare to deal with sometimes. And this camera, for whatever reason, maybe it's Canon color science or whatever, or CLOG 3, makes my skin look natural without having to like bend those red tones back into the orange of skin.
Thanks, Canon.
There are downsides to CLOG 3 in this camera, but we'll get to those later as well. You can also shoot in regular color profiles on this camera, so you don't have to color grade if you don't want to, but they definitely don't look as high quality as the CLOG 3, and you lose the highlights way faster on the standard profiles. Another massive pro of this camera is the old audio muffler up here. It's just a little hot shoe attachment that covers your microphone, and the results are actually very, very good from this little onboard microphone.
My screen's brightness is maxed out right now and it's still not quite enough. It's a very bright day today, but still, there's clouds and stuff. So if there were no clouds, this would not be bright enough, which is a bummer. Knuckles. Can I have high five?
Imaging USA is coming up. It is one of my favorite creative conferences for us camera nerds. This year is in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm gonna have a meetup for my community. More details on that soon. So if you want to attend the meetup or Imaging USA, become a PPA member today and you'll get into both for free. You also get access to business resources like education, rate cards, contract templates, indemnification trust. So if you have issues with a client or data loss, they can step in and actually help you. And for PPA members and followers of this channel, you can actually slap me on the neck if you see me in person. That's one of the best benefits. I'm so excited to hang out with you guys, so follow me on Instagram as well for more details on my community meetup, and join PPA today. If you use my link, you'll get a discount on your membership and access to so many incredible benefits. Just click the link, peruse around, see what you think. Now let's get back into talking about the Canon V1. Another pro, and this is surprising coming from me, I think, if you've seen any of my videos, you might know this, but I don't like using touchscreens on camera. But for whatever reason, the way Canon has this one laid out, it's actually intuitive to use, and the quality of the touch function is very nice. I think it's just the way it sits on the hand. It just feels really good to change things. Obviously, I have to show you this backwards, but when I'm holding this naturally like this, it's so easy for me to just like tap shutter speed with my left thumb, adjust it, and then hit the back button, start recording. It's very quick and easy. Although I do find myself accidentally changing shutter speed all the freaking time, so I wish there was some sort of settings lock button. The autofocus is also very solid on this camera. My favorite part is it has automatic subject detection. So when I'm out filming, I don't have to switch from bird to person to train, plane, whatever. You can just switch it into auto subject detect and it just picks for you, and it rarely misses. To my surprise, this camera actually has a mechanical shutter, so you can choose between mechanical or electronic, and it's kind of a cute, satisfying little noise that it makes when you shoot a photo. So you just turn the camera on with this button, switch into photo mode instantly with this switch, and it sounds like this. It's very subtle, but it sounds really cute. I like it. The zoom rocker on top of the camera is actually very good. I like where it's placed, but I've noticed that it's faster in photography than video, which is a bit of a bummer for me personally, but it does work really well. You just push it back and forth, which is similar to old school handy cams. So anything like that, I'm gonna praise it. Look at all that reach. It's pretty dang fast, pretty dang solid. But notice if I go into video mode, it actually stays that nice quick speed until I hit record. Then it's much slower, which I don't understand why. Is this a processing limitation? I have no idea, but I was hoping to get those quick dad cam style zooms out of this camera in video mode, but it's slow. The battery life isn't great, but it's decent. I would probably recommend having at least 2 or 3 and being mindful of turning the camera on and off throughout the day if you're on a long day with your family or friends, but you can recharge over USB-C, which is nice. And in terms of photography quality, the photos are good. I would not say they're amazing. Obviously, this camera and lens are so tiny and it's a fixed lens, so what you shoot is what you get. But I would choose this over a smartphone for photography, just simply because it's not adding all the internal processing that most phones do, and you can get a little bit of depth of field and a more natural look from this camera versus your smartphone. But I really wish that every other camera company, including Canon, would catch up to Fuji and Lumix in terms of their JPEG internal simulations, which basically just means like, give us filmic looking photos, nice quality JPEGs, straight out of camera. Let me add some grain on there if I want to, or change the aspect ratio if I want it to look a little funky and spicy. And I know not everybody cares about that, but for people like me, maybe you, who are not spending time editing photos at night, I'm spending time trying to get my child to go to sleep, I would like my photos to just look good in this expensive camera I'm buying. All right, let's move on to the cons of this Canon camera. The first con is the overall video image quality. Even in CLOG 3, this quality is pretty noisy. Even like shooting out in the day with proper exposure, you basically have to nail the exposure on this camera to get it to look pretty clean. Even then, there's always a little bit of noise in this video footage. It's probably very hard to tell watching this YouTube video when you're taking a dump holding your phone, but before the YouTube compression, when you're looking at it with your own 2 eyes on your computer screen, it's noisy. It's not the highest quality 4K you've ever seen, but it's definitely good. It's definitely impressive for such a compact camera like this. I also wish that the lens was not variable aperture, so as you zoom in, the image and the aperture get darker. It closes down more. That's pretty common with compact zoom lenses, but just bums me out a little bit. I don't know. I wish it could have been a constant, like 2.8 or something, but then it probably wouldn't be this small. And the other thing with the lens is, to me personally, I just don't see anything special about the image. The overall image just kind of like, hey, I'm here, like, hi. Another con is about the build quality, specifically the screen. Yes, it feels good, feels high quality, but when you have it flipped out like this and tilted down, it's actually not perfectly parallel with the camera body. You see how when I have the camera laid out like this, the screen doesn't, I'm bending it to try to get it straight, but it doesn't naturally sit flush. It's not like a deal breaker or anything, but I do like my screen to be straight when I'm shooting footage so I can see what my composition is properly. I don't know, just kind of weird that that was an oversight. And shooting photography on this flip screen is not fun for me personally. This is a big complaint I've had with the Lumix S9, so sorry if you've heard it, but I don't like shooting photos on a flip screen. I'd rather have a tilt screen, but my ideal setup is an EVF, which this camera also doesn't have. I get that it's ultra compact, but other cameras have figured out ultra compact plus EVF, so no excuse, sorry. This is a random specific con that I don't know if you guys will ever deal with, but it's very hard to get this camera hard mounted on something and get a smooth quality image out of it. I don't know if it's the optics in the lens bouncing around or something. Even when I hard mount this thing super solid with magic arms that are high quality, the image just seems to rattle and shake and look jello-y no matter what I do, no matter how I mount this thing. And I'm just obsessed with hard mounting cameras onto things and letting the motion of the frame be the movement. I just think it looks cool. And this camera is so compact that you can fit it in tight spaces and mount it to weird things, which I love doing. So it's just a bit of a shame that hard mounting it doesn't give me a stable image. But what's the bottom line of this camera as an everyday cinema carry or an EDC camera? For me, overall, this thing is just fun to use. It's so compact, which I appreciate, and has good enough quality that I find myself just taking it everywhere with me as I've been borrowing it from Roberts. It's so easy to just throw in your pocket or a tiny bag or put it on your hip and just go anywhere with this thing. It turns on quickly, shoots pretty high quality video, decent photos. So for anyone out there looking for a compact everyday carry where you don't mind editing the video footage or the photos from this camera, which it does shoot raw photos as well, probably should have mentioned that. As long as you're not expecting Hollywood level quality, but you want something that might look better than your phone, this is an insanely good option. It's not extremely cheap, but for what you get, I think the price is relatively fair, at least right now. But I just can't get over that desire for a little bit better image quality off of a camera like this. I know it's a high expectation. I'm not saying that it should be that, but I just wish it was. I don't think it's something I'm gonna buy and keep personally, but it was really, really fun to use, and it is so easy to carry with you. So make sure to text me when you get home so I know you're safe, and watch out for deer. Follow me on Instagram for short and dumb stuff like this. Support me on YouTube memberships, Patreon, or Discord memberships to have your name over here. And please remember that you guys are loved much more than you might even know. And I'll see you in the next video, all right? Peace.